So I could say, will we have a fully reductionist account of cognitive processes? And the answer to that is yes. But by the time we do that, our understanding of matter will have transformed so much that what we think of as reductionist now won't look anything like what we think of reductionism now.
What is panpsychism?
So in its broadest definition, it's the view that consciousness is a fundamental and ubiquitous feature of the physical world.
Panpsychism is this increasingly popular philosophy of consciousness that I see cropping up everywhere that seems to mesh eerily well within the metaphysical worldview of people like Jordan Peterson. Peterson, in my mind, is bridging the divide between science and religion. And the idea that consciousness might be a fundamental constituent of physical reality itself is an idea that would accelerate that convergence.
Because you chase consciousness back, and like it disappears into the mystery of the past, and we have no idea what its relationship is with matter. But it's the force that gives rise to the cosmos and drives evolution. It's like you're getting pretty close to God there.
The reintegration of God and religion into our current worldview is important and necessary because the scientific materialist worldview that has dominated our culture and saturated our psychology as individuals for so long is rapidly breaking down. Individuals are losing their sense of meaning and purpose and most practically their will to live. And new parasitic pseudo-religions are rising up from the corpses of the old ones and hurtling us on a path towards mass societal destruction.
I mean, what we're noticing, what we're experiencing is a breakdown of the modern scientific materialism. It's like it's breaking down around us. And it's happening to a certain extent from within science. People are realizing that there is an aspect of even the material world which engages consciousness to a certain extent. So think about it, it's all fraying on the edge. It's all it's in the fringe, it's all breaking apart. So it's an opportunity to speak into that and to hopefully help people see the world is more than just matter. The world is more than just these scientific categories.
So what does it mean for the world to be more than just matter? In a purely scientific materialist worldview, our current one, consciousness is viewed as what is called an epiphenomenon, something that emerges as a result of a byproduct of chemical processes and neuronal firings in the human brain. We aren't conscious because we are imbued with some sort of deep and mysterious energy that permeates the universe and connects us all. We're conscious because evolution happened to create brains that happen to have this unnatural illusion of experience.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
But in contrast to this rather nihilistic belief, the panpsychist view of consciousness posits that every aspect of physical reality is imbued with this strange fundamental force called consciousness, and our human experience as individuals is in fact a property of reality itself.
So in the simplest form of it, the fundamental building blocks of reality, perhaps electrons and quarks, have incredibly simple forms of experience, and the very complex experience of the human or animal brain is somehow rooted in or derived from these very simple forms of experience at the level of basic physics, right? So the standard approach is to think, we start with matter and we think, how do we get consciousness out of matter? So I don't think that problem can be solved. But the panpsychist does it the other way around. They start with consciousness and try to get matter out of consciousness.
But everyone says you got to take some things as fundamental. And if you can't explain one thing in terms of the previous fundamental things, you have to expand. So I at least take seriously the possibility something like that could happen with consciousness. Take it as a fundamental property like space, time, and mass. And instead of trying to explain consciousness wholly in terms of the evolution of space, time, and mass, and so on, take it as a primitive and then connect it to everything else.
Now here is how panpsychism fits directly into Peterson's metaphysical worldview and why that's important. One of the most important ideas, if not the most important idea, laid out in Maps of Meaning, is the idea that there are two distinct aspects to reality: the world of facts and the world of values. The world can be validly construed as a form for action as well as a place of things. We describe the world as a place of things using the formal methods of science. The techniques of narrative, however, myth, literature, and drama, portray the world as a form for action. These are the two halves of reality as such. The form for action, understood through narrative, particularly religious narrative, is the domain of values, qualia, and consciousness. The place of things, understood through science, is the domain of facts, quanta, and matter. And both Peterson and the panpsychists make it clear that the purely scientific worldview held by so many materialist thinkers cannot be used to account for the infinite mystery that is consciousness.
It's a huge debate, but I think that the core of it is that physical science works with a purely quantitative description of the physical world, whereas consciousness essentially involves qualities. If you think about the smell of coffee or the taste of mint or the deep red you experience as you watch a sunset, I think these qualities can't be captured in the purely quantitative language of physical science.
Construing consciousness as a fundamental property of reality, as the panpsychist does, allows one to develop a reductionist account of consciousness as it relates to cognition, but only insofar as they let go of their scientific materialist worldview, which holds that consciousness is the epiphenomenal byproduct of dead matter.
So I could say, will we have a fully reductionist account of cognitive processes? Yes, but by the time we do that, our understanding of matter will have transformed so much that what we think of as reductionist now won't look anything like what we think of reductionism now. Matter isn't dead dust. I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. Matter is what matters. There's a definition. That's a very weird definition.
And so here's how all of this ties together, and you'll have to forgive me if over the course of the next 3 minutes, your entire understanding of reality shifts beneath you. When we synthesize this panpsychist understanding of consciousness with its functionality as a driving force of evolution, deep implications about our lives as individuals begin to emerge. Here is Peterson laying out an evolutionary argument for the quasi-divinity of consciousness.
Okay, so here's a hypothesis. Human beings separated themselves from chimpanzees. One of the reasons they did that was because human females are sexually selective. Chimps aren't. Female chimps in estrus will mate with any chimp. The main chimps, the dominant ones, chase the subordinate males away. So they're more likely to have offspring, but it's not because of female choice. Okay, so you might say, oh, well, it was human female conscious choice that selected us. Okay, and you think, well, that's not random. That's not random at all. It's the farthest thing from random that there is. And that means consciousness is making its choices with regards to what propagates. And so then what you get is that the consciousness that through its active expression transforms the potential of the world into actuality also selects the direction of evolution. And so then here's the case you could make. Consciousness extracts the proper world of being from potential through truth, and then it's good. That manifests itself in human beings at the individual level of individual consciousness. That's expressed in the hero of heroes, that idea. That hero of heroes is the driving force behind human evolution. So not only do you get the action of the logos metaphysically as the process that extracts order out of chaos at the beginning of time, you also get it as the major driver of evolution. And so then you ask, okay, then what kind of reality does that have? Because you chase consciousness back, and like it disappears into the mystery of the past, and we have no idea what its relationship is with matter. But it's the force that gives rise to the cosmos and drives evolution. It's like you're getting pretty close to God there.
So here is the panpsychist and Peterson synthesis. Consciousness is a fundamental property of reality. It is understood through narrative. Therefore, mythology and literature become sources of data that have equal epistemological utility as scientific data. Therefore, the insights and application of said insights derived from mythology and literature are as important and real as the insights and applications of said insights derived from scientific inquiry. And so for individuals, that means engagement with movies, literature, art, and mythology is not escapism, but a direct immersion into the most fundamental aspects of reality that have shaped the very direction of evolution. And therefore, the sense of despair and meaninglessness in life derived from the false belief that consciousness is an epiphenomena can be dispelled by acknowledging the truth and reality of the archetypal hero myth represented in mythology, literature, movies, and art, and then acting that myth out. This is the central and most practical idea that Peterson offers to individuals such as you and I think it synthesizes magically with the philosophy of panpsychism, at least as far as I understand it. So, good luck and Godspeed.